Yeah, so my system is basically involving mostly market structure. So this is the idea that when you look at a chart, you can tell a very basic shape of the chart and if it's moving up or down. I mean, it seems very obvious, but if you look at a chart, it's kind of like a 5 second rule where really if you look at a chart, I can tell within 5 seconds if it's good or bad and or if it's inactionable. Sometimes a chart is just chopping and it's not really, worth considering. But yeah, within like maybe even less than 5 seconds, I can be like, all right, this is looking like it's terrible. It's going down to the right, or it's going up and to the right. And then with that sort of shape of the chart, then I can start to get a little more granular and look at a few key levels, maybe 3 to 4 high time frame support and resistance levels that I can identify. And I mostly, for that reason, like playing charts that are near all-time highs because of the fact that usually when an asset is trending in that direction, and if there's some sort of narrative around that, which is another sort of key factor in my system, then I can sort of look and see, okay, if there's momentum of this breakout, I can look at the market structure before and after the breakout and then potentially play that as it continues going. And usually that results in a trade with a high degree of asymmetry, where asymmetry basically just means that I can always cap my downside. So I have an understanding that my downside is small, but the upside by comparison is very high. And I can use that as a sort of way of being able to scale into trades where I understand that my downside is defined, but my upside is very, very high. And I always look for those trades, the sort of convex outcomes. And I think that's not really talked about enough, where you see in this day and age people on Polymarket buying, outcomes that have a 99% chance of happening. And, if their upside is literally less than 1%, but their downside is 100%, which is exactly what you don't want to do as a trader. You want to find outcomes where your downside is, 3%, but your upside is 30, 40, 50% or higher, and play those kinds of trades instead. And it's being very selective around that. So yeah, in short, basically my system is market structure, support and resistance, narrative and momentum, and looking for relative strength as well. So looking at